Alrighty, it's time to talk Tesla. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty in regards to Tesla here, I've always treated Tesla with, and if you watch my channel over the years, always treated the stock very fair, right? Additionally, this stock has treated me more than fair. I call my house the house that Tesla built, right? It absolutely changed the game for me. And, you know, it's a big enough house my son can ride his bike around, right? But I'm extremely fortunate for the stock. The gains, you know, the prices I was able to buy Tesla at years ago was ridiculous, right? And nowadays I have a very small position in Tesla. Only 1,000 shares, and I do have some shares in the Patreon portfolio as well, but it's such a small fraction from all the crazy profits I took back in like 2021, right? And so back then, you know, the stock was trading very, very rich, and I was just able to take ridiculous profits in this one, and I sold by far and away the majority of shares. So I have like a fraction of what I used to have, right? But I think it's worth mentioning that I understand this company very well. I've owned it for a long, long time. It's treated me very handsomely, but additionally, I have always treated this stock very fairly. If things are bad, I tell you guys, hey man, like this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. If things are good and there's things to be optimistic about, I'm going to tell you, hey, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is something to be optimistic about. I also set expectations. I'll let you know, hey, you know, Elon says this isn't likely happening anytime soon. I set the realistic expectations around this stock. I don't just like, say, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, because I know a lot of people do that in regards to the Tesla community, and I always want to make sure I'm not doing that for you guys. I always call it the way I see it, and that goes for any stock, and especially Tesla, right? So I just think that's worth being said, and my thought is, who's buying me the next house? Like, is it SoFi? Is it Palantir? Like, I really want to know that. Who's grabbing the next one up? Now, Tesla, here's the deal. Right off the bat, bad. There's no debating that. Earnings per share missed analyst expectations, 73 cents versus 76 cents was expected. Revenue missed by a mile. You know, bad miss on revenue here. $1.5 billion miss for revenue. Not good. Like, there's no other way. I'm not going to try to pitch that to you as, oh, this was good. No, that's bad. Like, they missed across the board. No bueno, right? And the real reason is the automotive business absolutely sucks for Tesla. Like, they're in deep problems. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys in regards to auto business. They've got to make changes. They got to make changes quick. Because here's the deal. Automotive revenue is down 8% year over year. They've already gotten through the major price decreases. That's already a thing in the past. Additionally, we got all these EV tax credits and all this crap. And it still didn't matter for demand. And we got all this excitement around Elon Musk and, oh, he's helping Trump and he's got all this. Where the F were the Republicans to go ahead and go buy the Teslas? They weren't there. They're like, oh yeah, Elon, go help Trump get elected, right? And there's a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of them, that are very well educated on what just happened in our last election, and they believe that Elon Musk is the reason that Trump won that election because of many of the changes he made to the X platform and social media in general. That's not my opinion, but I've spoken to a lot of people that they truly believe that. At the end of the day, and there's so many people that are like so positive on Elon, it means nothing for the sales. Nothing, clearly. So whatever Elon has done here has definitely hurt the reputation of Tesla when it comes to automotive business. And there's no debating that. If this was a positive, we would see those numbers being positive. Keep in mind, at this quarter last year was not even a good quarter for Tesla's auto business. It's not like we're coming off of some like booming quarter last year at this time. No, it was not good. And then we came in with worse. And not a small worse, way worse, negative 8%. So the moral of the story is the Republicans aren't stepping up to the plate to go buy the Teslas. I can tell you that much. And the Democrats look like they're kind of like, oh, you're not on our side anymore? Okay. Have fun, buddy. Go woke, go broke. Remember that? It works both ways. It works both ways. So that's the moral of the story in regards to this whole Tesla situation. There's no debating that. That's horrible. Horrible. And this is for a company with the products. The thing is, Tesla has such amazing products in the market. As somebody that's I've driven the best of the best vehicles, okay? And the world has to offer. I've driven the best. And I've driven Teslas. And I can tell you, once you get Tesla products, you don't go to another product. It is the best, bar none. Like sometimes I'll rent vehicles because we're going to go on a long trip or something like that, and I'll rent like high-end vehicles like Mercedes and BMWs and, some of those vehicles, garbage after you drove Teslas. And once you get used to all the things and all the conveniences, dude, you can't switch. So we got great products in the market. We got all those EV tax credits. We've done all those price drops, and we still can't do numbers. That's not good. It's not good. Energy generation and storage business, that's good. If we want to talk about something that's a positive, that's damn good. 113% up year over year. Now, the good thing with that business is you don't have to worry about it, or the liberals or the Republicans buying it, right? Services and other revenue, another strong segment for the business, 31% growth. That's going to continue to grow rapidly over the coming years here. Now, if you look at net cash provided by operating activities, up 10%. CapEx, up 21%. So, you can look at that as a positive or negative. It's like they're spending a lot of money. Sure. But hopefully we get a good ROI on all that CapEx spend. Free cash flow was down 2% for the company year over year. Cash and cash equivalents and investments was up 26% for the company year over year. Now, this is a real positive for the company. Cumulative miles driven with FSD is climbed massively. Now, this matters significantly for all the training of these vehicles, right? If we're going to talk about robo-taxis being in every major city across the world over the next 5-10 years, we need as much training as possible so these vehicles can drive as flawlessly as possible. They need to not only drive better than a human, but they need to far exceed a human's driving ability, right? Because humans are not very good driving. They're not very good at driving. Like, let's be honest, look at how many accidents happen on a daily basis, right? So being that humans are not very good, this product has to be not only superior to humans, but vastly superior. Because one kid gets hit by one of these cars, no bueno. So all this training comes in key here, very, very key. Now, if you look at energy services and other gross profit, it has climbed massively on a year-over-year basis, right? It has fallen a little bit on a sequential basis, but on a year-over-year basis, we're looking good. Energy storage deployments has climbed massively as well. Now, this is great here. What you're looking at is the average cost of goods sold per vehicle. Achieved an all-time low in this latest quarter. That's great, man. Like, this is exactly what we need to see. Continue to bring down the cost of these vehicles, and hopefully Tesla's brand can get to a place where we get out of all this like political crap. Let's call it that, okay? Because I truly believe that's what's holding back these auto sales numbers with how weak this is, with everything that's going on and how good the product is. We got to get out of this, right? And I speak to people. I just talked to a guy last night at one of my kids' practices, right? And we were talking about Teslas. You know what the guy says to me? He says, I just wish Elon would stay out of all the political stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. He told me, how many people say things to him, and I hear the same things, and I'm like, dude, like, there's no debating at this point in time. There was a debate, if we go back a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, there was a debate about, like, is this going to hurt Tesla sales, right? Is it or is it not? 100% has hurt Tesla sales. Elon going the route he went is no debating. Like, it's hurt Tesla sales massively, right? And I speak to a lot of Republicans. Like, I would say the vast majority of my friends and people around me are Republicans, right? And, a lot of these people are like, oh, yeah, I might buy a Tesla someday. They never can buy it, man. They go buy new trucks. They never come buy a Tesla. That's the thing. These Republicans talk about, oh, I'm going to buy it. No, they'll never buy a new damn Tesla. They're going to buy a new freaking F-150. Give me a break. It's the same thing. I see it consistently all the time. They talk about it, but they're not about it. The new Model Y looks phenomenal. I've heard nothing but positive things. I've talked to so many people about this, get their opinions, just like, hey, what do you think about the new Model Y? And I've just heard, hey, I like it. Positive things overall in regards to that vehicle. Now, if you look at their semi-factory, this is exciting because this has been a long time coming. Finally, the semi-factory's coming, baby. Thank goodness. What do you know? Very exciting times, and looking forward to a future of electric semis. That's going to be very, very exciting, right? Keep in mind, this is not just going to be a 1 or 2 year benefit. This is going to be a multi-decade benefit, and it's going to be a multi-decade switchover for semis, going from internal combustion engines, diesel, obviously going to EV. That's going to be 20 plus years of switchover. That's going to happen there, right? You get the early adopters, and then we'll get more and more switch. Mega Factory Shanghai going really good. good as far as that goes. They show some pictures of the Tesla lithium refinery, which looks great. They showed this Cortex 50,000 GPU training cluster. And that looks amazing, right? So Tesla kind of showing you, hey, we're spending all this money, baby, but we're going to do some things here in the future, and let's just hope we can get these auto sales back rolling in the right direction. No, as far as their income statement went, not too good. D plus. Income from operations went from $2 billion, which once again wasn't even a good number at this time last year, to $1.5 billion. They had a Bitcoin benefit, but at the end of the day, like, this is not good, right? No, there's some things to be excited about. Elon talking about on the conference call, hey, we're going to be in Austin, unsupervised FSD 5 months from now. We'll see. That's what I'll say about that. There's a lot of excitement there, right? As a Tesla shareholder for a long dang time. As a Tesla shareholder for a long time, like, they eventually get around to these things, right? But it's not always on the timeline, Elon says. If you've held this stock for a long time, you've followed this company for a long time, it's sometimes months, many times years after they say it. So is that true? Are there actually going to be unsupervised vehicles in Austin this summer? Maybe. I'd call it a coin flip, 50-50. And then if they are, I would say it's probably going to be a pretty small amount of vehicles at first, right? And so, but the moral of the story is, we're getting closer. The moral of the story is we're getting closer and closer to the day of unsupervised FSD, of these vehicles driving themselves, a Waymo type situation, right? No, obviously there's a lot of people that don't like Tesla, and that's understandable, and that's always been that way, by the way. It's way before Elon got political and made the changes and bought X and all that. Tesla's always had a lot of people that don't like this stock, right? So, for instance, this person posted Tesla's net income down by 50%, now trades at 185 times earnings for a company with declining sales and profits, right? And a big pile of you-know-what there, right? This person says, my favorite part of Tesla earnings is 26% of their earnings this quarter came from unrealized Bitcoin gains. Totally cool. I think they're being facetious there. But yeah, Tesla, you guys think it's bad? Just wait till next quarter when they take away the EV credits. That's going to be interesting, right? That's going to be really interesting. And I don't know what to expect there, man. I don't know what to expect. We'll see. So clearly you have the negative side, have their moment as well, right? But then you have this. Elon's talking about Optimus has the potential to generate more than $10 trillion in revenue. Maybe. That might happen. When? Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. When is a company even going to make any sort of meaningful revenue from this opportunity? No time soon. Never mind 10 trillion, no time soon. This is a long, long, long time from now in terms of it mattering for numbers at all. The things that could matter for the numbers in the next few years are getting automotive sales back in the right direction, services business building out, the energy business continuing to build out, and robo-taxi fleets getting in more and more cities over the next 3 years. That's the things that matters for the company over the next, let's call it 3 years. Optimus, robots, things like that, 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out, that's going to matter for the company. But that's a long time in the future. So let's just be crystal clear about that, right? Now, here's the deal with Tesla stock and where the stock's headed. At the end of the day, it's a pretty simple game. If the NASDAQ goes beast mode, Tesla's going beast mode. Tesla just rides momentum, is a lot of, excitement about the long term of what's going on with the company, with the robo-taxi opportunity, with the Optimus opportunity, and things like that, right? And so the numbers are clearly not the important thing in the short term, right? So if the NASDAQ rolls and continues to go up, Tesla's going up. My opinion is if the NASDAQ stays kind of flattish, Tesla will head down over this next bit of time. If the NASDAQ goes down, Tesla's going to go down far more than the NASDAQ goes down. It won't even be remotely close, okay? So that's kind of the dealio in regards to Tesla, my Tesla.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. Listen, there are three main areas a long-term investor has to understand. You have to understand financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. You have to understand and master portfolio management. And you have to have the ability to project what is possible for companies in the coming years. Bearish scenarios, bullish scenarios. All these skills can be learned, and that's the good news. And I'm still just a regular guy who's out here. I just have a lot of passion for the market. I've learned a lot over the last 15 years. I had a tremendous amount of success, and I have a dedication to teaching people everything I have learned in the past 15 years. If I can do it, you can do it too. You can learn all that's required to become a great investor in my private group. The application is going to be down there in the description area. You can click on that, fill out an application, join us in the private group, get access to all my best course curriculums, teaching you everything that I got in my head, and you get ability to join our 6-figure, 7-figure Hall of Fame. We have such a tremendous Discord. It is incredible. So once again, description area down there, there's a link. You can apply to join my private group in there.
In regards to Elon Musk, he had some big statements here. So we made many critical investments in 2024 in manufacturing, AI, and robotics that will bear immense fruit in the future. Like, it's in fact to such a scale that it's difficult to comprehend. And as I've said before, and I'll stand by it, I see a path, I'm not saying an easy path, but a path for Tesla to become the most valuable company in the world by far. Not even close. Okay, so it was a few years ago now at this point in time, Elon Musk mentioned this thought process about Tesla becoming the most valuable company in the world. Okay, now, he's gone way further now, because now he's not only saying we have a chance to be the most valuable company in the world. He says not even close. Not even close. He says like maybe several times more than there's a path where Tesla is worth more than the next top 5 companies combined, right? That's just a massive statement. Now, there's a couple of ways you could look at that. You could say, well, it's a man who has pulled off some pretty darn impossible things over time, and so maybe this is going to just be another one, right? And he sees a vision for this. Another way to look at this would be, if you're going to look at it more glass half empty, or a more cynical way of looking at this, you could say this is a man just pumping his own stock, right? And this is disgusting. Like, CEOs shouldn't be doing this, right? They shouldn't be just talking about like their stock price is going to be this or that, right? So there's no doubt, like, this is a huge bombshell statement that now he's gone this far to say he believes Tesla could be worth more than the next top 5 companies combined. You got to understand, the other top 5 companies, right? If we just look at them today, let's say they don't even grow in the future, which is completely unrealistic, but let's just say today, if you combine those companies, like, we're talking those companies combined are like $10 trillion or maybe even more than $10 trillion. And he's talking about Tesla could be more. Assuming those companies then become 15 or 20 or 25 trillion, right? Then we're talking about Tesla being even bigger than that. So, we're talking about these are just insane kind of numbers here, right? So that the overwhelmingly due to autonomous vehicles and autonomous humanoid robots. So our focus is actually building toward that. And that's where we're laying our ground. We laid the groundwork for that in 2024. We'll continue to lay the groundwork for that in 2025. In fact, more than laid the groundwork actually. So we'll be building the structure. We're building the manufacturing lines. I'd like setting up what I think will be an epic 2026 and a ridiculous 2027, 2028. Ridiculously good. That's my prediction, he says. So he's definitely giving the long-term investors, right, hope and thought to the future, right? He's talking about we're going to have a ridiculous 2027, a ridiculous 2028, right? So a passenger car, typically has only about 10 hours of utility per week out of 168. Truth. A very small percentage. Once that car is autonomous, my rough estimate is that the use time will increase dramatically, right? He's talking about 50, 55 hours per week, which I honestly could see that. Let's say you have, you own a Model Y and you use it 10 hours a week, right? To go to work and back, and then you want it to be driving people around a bunch of the other time. That's certainly, I think, something that will be realistic within the next few years. I think there will be people doing that, right? And their Model Y will go out during the nighttime and then come back, maybe a few hours before they have to go to work and charge up, right? Or once they get to work, maybe the car will then go in and drive people around, right? And then get to a certain battery percentage and then say, it's got to come back to pick you up for work, right? So you make sure you get home. I see that being realistic. Yes, 100%. But it's not going to be something you're going to see this year. It's more like something you're going to see a few years from now. And it can be useful both for cargo delivery and people delivery. So let's even say that people are asleep, but you can deliver packages in the middle of the night or resupply restaurants or whatever that case may be, whatever people need all hours of the day and night. That same asset, the thing that these things are already exist with no incremental cost change, just a software update, now have 5 times or more the utility than they currently have. I think this will be bigger than the largest asset value increase in human history. Maybe there's something bigger, but I just don't know what yet. And so people who look in the rearview mirror are looking at the past precedent, except I don't think there is one. So, but in reality of autonomy is upon us. And I repeat my advice, interesting. Try driving the car or let it drive you. So now it works very well in the US and of course it will elsewhere. We launched the Cortex training cluster at Gigafactory Austin, which was a significant contributor to FSD advancement. And we continue to invest in training infrastructure out of the Texas headquarters. So the training needs for Optimus, now we're talking about the humanoid robot, are probably at least ultimately 10x of what's needed for the car. So this can be seen as kind of scary because this basically means if they want to actually really do this whole Optimus thing, Tesla's going to need to spend a ridiculous amount of money on this. It's not going to be small. It's going to be ridiculous to actually make this happen, right? At least to get it to full range of useful roles. You can say, how many different roles are there for a humanoid robot versus a car? Humanoid robots has probably, 1,000 times more uses in more complex things than a car. Yeah, I would say so, right? That doesn't mean the training scales by 1,000, but it's probably 10x. Now you can do this progressively, so it doesn't mean Tesla's going to have to spend $500 billion in training compute, but we obviously train Optimus to do enough tasks to match the output of Optimus robots. And obviously the cost of training is dropping dramatically with time. Yes and no. I mean, NVIDIA's chips are no joke. Those things are very, very expensive. So, I know we say training is coming down in cost, and maybe in theory it is, but the use case is going up so much that ultimately companies are spending way more than they ever thought possible for these training chips. So, it's kind of some truth in that, some truth not in that. And obviously the cost of training is dropping dramatically in time. So it is one of those things where I think long-term Optimus has the potential to be north of $10 trillion in revenue. It's really bananas. So you can obviously afford a lot of training compute in that situation. In fact, even $500 billion training compute in that situation would be good, quite a good deal. Okay, here's the deal with Optimus Robot, okay? No doubt, it's a massive opportunity over the next 10, 20 years, okay? 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but it ain't happening anytime soon. No time soon, okay? As I could show you predictions. Elon Musk thought we were going to have full robo-taxi fleets out there in the market back in 2020, right? Here we are in 2025. We still don't have it. We're not going to still have it in 2025. We're hoping to maybe have a few cars out there in the marketplace in 2025. 2026, maybe scale it up a little bit. 2030, I think it's realistic that you'll have major fleets of Teslas driving people around in major cities with no driver in the front seat, right? But that's 10 years late. And so same thing with this humanoid robot thing. We could talk about, in 2030, we might have these humanoid. 2040, we can talk, okay? So if you're expecting any sort of meaningful revenue or EPS or anything like that in the next 5 years from robots, dream on. 15 years from now, 20 years from now, we can talk. We can talk then, okay? And same thing with even with the autonomous taxi network opportunity, right? If you're expecting any sort of major money to help Tesla in the next 2 years, no. 5 years from now, I think that's actually somewhat realistic. 7 years from now, yes. 10 years from now, for sure. But in the short term, no. So both these opportunities are massive, no long term, but long term. That's the very key thing you got to understand here. With regards to Optimus, obviously I'm making these revenue predictions that sound absolutely insane. I realize that, but they are. I think they will prove to be accurate. Yeah, now with Optimus, there's a lot of uncertainty on the exact timing because not like a train arriving at a station for Optimus. We are designing the train and the station in real time and building on the tracks. So, yeah, he talks about maybe potentially trying to have 10,000 Optimus made by December. He's just, this is Elon being Elon. Elon's throwing stuff out there. He's going to be way behind on all his predictions, as he always is. But that doesn't mean he's not going to come through. And I think that's an important thing that people got to understand about Elon. He's going to be 100% wrong on all these predictions in terms of timing. But will Tesla likely eventually someday have a ton of Optimus robots out there? I would not doubt them for a second. Will Tesla have massive fleets of vehicles driving people all over the world? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to be on Elon's time frame? No. As it's proven, he was way, way too optimistic on that. And the same thing with the robot, same thing with everything Tesla does, right? They get there. But it's way late to the game, right? I mean, even the semi, people thought we'd be producing tons of semis 5 years ago. And we're just finally getting the facilities ready to start building semis and hopefully scaling and maybe getting to some sort of decent volume production in 2026 or 2027, right? And people are thinking 5 years ago we were going to be at volume production. These things happen. We're still waiting on the Roadster. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. These things do happen. It just takes a long dang time, okay? Elon's time frame's a whole different ballgame. And if you've been a Tesla shareholder or following this company for a long time, you know that. So don't get your hopes up about autonomous taxi network opportunity making any meaningful money anytime soon. Same thing with robots. These are things that will happen and can happen for Tesla, but it's not in the short term. And that's an important thing you got to understand about all these bombshell statements that Elon Musk is dropping here left and right. So in conclusion, 2025 really is a pivotal year for Tesla. And when we look back on 2025 and the launch of unsupervised full self-driving, true real-world AI that actually works, I think that we may regard it as the biggest year in Tesla's history, maybe even bigger than our first car. Roadster or the Model S or the Model 3, the Model line. In fact, I think it will probably be viewed in 2025 as maybe the most important year in Tesla's history. There's no company in the world that is as good at real-world AI as Tesla. I don't even know who's in second place. Like you may say, who's in second place for real-world AI? I would think you need a very big telescope for that. That's how far behind they are. All right. So yeah, Elon Musk, talking his game there, talking his book, not surprising, right?